The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Y'all ready for this?
Boom! We are back. Southern Nevada Sports News on WWDB-TV. My name is Jeff Belknap. I'm with
Jabari Fletcher. You can call me AJ today.
AJ, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. So we obviously go way back.
Yep.
At least like what, 3-4 years?
Yep, like 4 flats on a Cadillac.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good relationship. We got a good relationship going.
Yes, we do.
So I met Jabari playing when Jabari was playing arena football. I almost said while playing arena football, but we all know that wasn't me out there playing.
Right.
Right.
That would have been good though if you were out there playing. You know,
Dude,
what I mean?
I bet I could have done a little bit of damage.
I think you would have been a good fullback or a linebacker,
Right.
like a Mac
Mac back.
coming downhill.
That's right.
That'd have been
And
cool.
you know what? I'm going to be running full speed all the time because I've seen these boys and they hit hard.
Well, I think you would probably sustain CTE a lot faster than I do if you coming down here all the time, man.
Well, I'll tell you this. One of the most explosive plays that I personally had was against San Jose.
Okay.
I was actually working the game, and our quarterback JJ threw a nice pass. It was coming right to me, and I just reached up, and right as I was about to grab it, the receiver actually came over the wall to catch the pass.
Oh,
Right?
I remember.
Which basically means that I was actually in the field, right? So he hit me, and I held my own. I was able to.
You stood up.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen people get concussions in arena football.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the fans, especially
right.
when they go over when a guy's contesting for a ball, and he goes over the wall and ends up in the fan's lap, and the receiver helmet or the cornerback helmet hits the head of a fan who's sitting there idle watching the game. Yeah, that's not fun. I seen a lady go out on a wheelchair looking like Rambo. She had a bandage on her head.
Oh, no.
It was funny. I'm not gonna lie. She was all right, but it was funny now that I look back on it. You know what I mean?
Well, when you see it happen, you don't want to see stuff like that. It's unfortunate. But just like a lot of sports, you got to be paying attention.
You do. You have to always be paying attention and keeping your eye over swivel, especially in arena football. 'Cause a lot of people don't know that game is very, very fast. It is faster than NFL, especially with the field being short. It's about 50 yards. The walls are the sideline, are out of bounds, and the fans are just on the opposite side of the wall. So a lot of the times the fans get involved, but, you know, being on this thing, as I will be to get my information, being on their cell phones or looking down or eating popcorn or not paying attention, you can sustain some collateral damage.
You know what I've seen in myself? I was at a baseball game one time, and a line drive came, and this thing was smoking. It was actually coming right to me. And I looked down, and this lady was not paying attention. And I was like, whoa, whoa. You know, I was trying to give her the heads up.
Right.
And she never even flinched. And this ball hit her straight up on the forehead.
I'm sorry.
And she went right out. And I was like, I think I could have had that. You know, of course I was second guessing myself because I was thinking, like, if I should have went for it, but it was kind of a little far away. And then, like, a couple of things. But the bottom line is you got to be paying attention. So you recently played some arena ball last year.
I did.
So we hooked you up, got you down to Mexico.
I appreciate that.
So how was that? Tell us about
it. It was a phenomenal experience. So thank you for networking and giving me that opportunity to go play. It was definitely an experience of a lifetime. Just being down there, the Mexican fans, the home crowd, playing on television, getting involved with the crowd in the stadium, it was absolutely phenomenal. And having Mexican teammates where there was a little bit of a language barrier, but we were always on the same page.
Nice.
We were always communicating. We were always making sure we got our point across. We were always teaching each other, more so us to them, teaching them fundamentals. and me teaching my experience and knowledge of having played preseason in the NFL in Canada, it was me sharing knowledge and them sharing their information on how to speak Spanish, picking up some of the dialect, places to go and eat, places to go and party, stuff like that. It was definitely it was phenomenal. I would do it again if I could.
So that was in Monterey. So are you serious? Because I got some. He said that. I honestly don't think he's that serious right now.
I tell you what, if the price was right,
there you go.
Absolutely. If you gave me a blank check, then we'll be talking. But otherwise, we'll have to negotiate that.
So obviously the sport of Mexico is football, which we all know as soccer.
Right.
But arena football is really like moving on the move. So this year we'll have a team in Tampico.
Oh, cool. Cool.
The Monterey team is taking a hiatus, but there will be a team in Mexico City. The league that they're going to be playing with is the IAEL, which is the maybe I said that wrong. The Arena Football League is basically what it is, but I think it's IAEL. No. IAFL, that's what it is. International Arena Football League.
Okay.
Mark Lozano helped set it up, and I'm not going to throw you under the bus, Mark, with those rules and everything you wrote. We all know who wrote those, so just go ahead and give me the credit. But it's all good.
Right.
I work with the NIF. We set some teams up in Texas. Had a great time doing that. Unfortunately, it didn't really pan out to what I was looking for, which was something to be a long-term deal. But that doesn't mean it's not going to happen someday. I know that there's a team slated to go into San Diego next year.
Oh, cool. Will that team be in the same league as the Tampico team?
Not yet.
Okay, so they're different leagues, but still teams evolving. See, arena football is it was once a popular sport, and it still is. I just wish the NFL would jump on board and creating a D league, developmental league for football players, and using arena football as that gateway, that connection, kind of like what the NBA has a D league. You know what I mean?
Well, the problem is, and this is what I found out, because you and I both know, we talked to a lot of people. I talked to a lot of sports people. I one time was on the phone with one of the attorneys for the NBA.
Okay.
And basically what he told me is, he laughed at me first when I told him what our plan was, which we were able to solidify several $1 million to start a G League team. At the time it was a D League. And he laughed and said, man, these guys don't need money. Which basically I said, oh, so you're basically talking about the elite fraternity called the NBA? And he said, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Which basically is the reason why there isn't a minor league in the NFL, is basically because these guys want to run everything. You got 32 guys that have these teams, and they don't want anyone else coming on board. They don't want to have to worry about anything. And you know what? I understand. Being a team owner myself at one point and watching the way that some of these team owners do business, I wouldn't want to be associated with them myself. But it does happen. Something's going to happen. We obviously, the NFLX is gonna come out eventually.
I mean, they have to, considering they had NFL Europe. NFL Europe was a big deal. A lot of guys went over there, still competed, gave the fans in Europe what they wanted to see, which is a nice football game from professionals. NFL know what they're doing, and I think they would. It'll behoove them to not use the AFL as another plateau to make their name more valuable.
I agree. Okay, so just speaking on Europe a little bit, because obviously they played a couple games the last few weeks in London.
Right.
The Jaguars owner is a London resident.
Oh, wow, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Khan, his name is Khan, which I like the guy. I mean, because he's like the guy that when all these other owners were having trouble with the diversity topic and everything, this guy's like, hey, man, go do whatever you want. You want to wear a shirt? Go ahead. You want to do this? Go ahead.
Do your thing.
Because he's basically realizing that these guys have a platform, and they should be able to use it. Right. And if they want to use it to protest, let them protest. That's the way I look at it.
That's a touchy subject. Considering what's going on, and considering that a veteran himself helped usher that in of a polite way for Colin to Mr. Kaepernick to kneel and respect, show solidarity amongst the nation, but showing respect for the people who fought and died for this flag, but also bringing awareness to the mistreatment amongst people of my complexion or people of Hispanic descent. either way, I believe everybody should be treated fairly. But we all know that's not the case.
Well, I mean, we both know
Right.
that there are injustices. So instead of like pointing out the fact that somebody's kneeling or that, why don't we just stop the injustices? I mean, we all know that there's a level of where police treat people differently. So instead of like pointing out the fact and all these different facts, let's just stop treating them unfairly.
It's easier said than done, and that's because you have so much black and white that you have to filter through to get all that changed. For example, in the United States, I think it's about training police academy is like maybe 6 months to a year. Over in Europe, it's about 2 years' time, and they teach you a lot of valuable things of how to interact with civilians and the public, such as patterns, how to pick up on nonverbal communication, how to interact and dissolve a problem rather than being like our police force. So some of that is instead of being like, hey, you need to do what I tell you to do, and I'm an authoritarian. If you don't, we know what could potentially happen.
Right.
That's not the case, but let's not get on to the political subject.
Well, let's just since you brought up the amount of training that it takes, you have to actually go through more training to become a barber than you do a police officer.
Are you serious? See, that's a bunch of pile of horse bleep. If you could edit that, sir, that'll be great. All right, cool. The internet, that's a bunch of BS. But anywho, that's my first time hearing that.
Yeah, that's craziness. And by the way, I did see I follow an Instagram page called Ben's Law, which I love.
Okay.
They basically all they do is point out like new laws and existing laws and just help people like understand different things. It's really statewide, but the one that I saw today is starting next month, it's going to be a required high school class that teaches students how to interact with police if they're pulled over.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I think that there should be some sort of education, and I do think that it should be talked about. I just don't think that the high school maybe is the best place. And the way that I feel, and we're only going to talk about 2 more seconds about this, but the way that I really feel about the police subject is the police need to be involved. And the police need to police the police.
Yes, see, the police is never going to police because, as you know, the Good Old Boys Club, I'm my brother's keeper. So if you mess up, yeah, I'm going to have your back. Maybe behind closed doors, we'll hash it out, but I'm still my brother's keeper. That's the same with every profession. Police force are going to have each other's back. They oust people from policing the police. There was a guy in New York who was really concentrating on being the best, most upstanding policeman that he could be. So far to the fact that he was getting writing other policemen up and his fellow coworkers and colleagues that they started to get him out of there, and eventually he got fired. He has went on to sue the police department for their lack of policing themselves and for the injustice that caused him, who happened to be Hispanic, and towards his family. So, I mean,
did he win the lawsuit?
I mean, I did not follow up on it.
I'm hoping that he won because that's exactly what needs to happen. Okay, so we're talk a little bit about the NFL last week. Okay. One of the most controversial plays, the early Sunday game was great. It was the game that was played in London. Obviously, it would be a day or an evening game there, but it was a morning game for us. Tennessee scores a touchdown at the end of the game. They kick the extra point. They would tie the game. They end up trying to go for the 2-point conversion, not getting it. How do you feel about that? In a division, now let's granted, in that wide open AFC division where like anyone can win, when you have the Colts and the Texans and
Tennessee played the Texans. Am I right?
Tennessee.
Who did they play? Because I wasn't awake for that game.
It wasn't a division game.
Okay. I feel like if in that situation, you should go ahead and tie the game and go into overtime. I mean, it's ballsy for a coach to go for the 2 points. Always, I feel like, hey, it's a win. It's an iffy situation, a seesaw. You know, if you in London, you want to get a crowd, a show. I say just go for the extra point. You know what I mean? Push it into overtime. More football to be played. These guys are built for that. So
I was a little more surprised about the play call because what he did was just a drop back pass. You have Mariota, you got a guy that can score.
Right.
You got to roll him out. You got to like throw the ball, give him an opportunity to run it in if he has it.
In a goal line play like that, I'm more going to go with a maybe I pro formation and boo him out, especially in the zone read, get everybody flowing, especially in the zone line with being three yards away from the goal line. Get everybody flowing to either side, boot the quarterback out, especially with a 4-3 guy like Mariota. Let the receiver go to the top, cut the receiver, the tight end, sit him down in the pocket, especially if they're playing zone, giving him an outlet, and then bringing that running back, if he don't, bringing the fullback right along the sideline, just as a case, Mariota got to dump it down and drop it off. A 1-yard pass, stick it over goal line, easy touchdown, or let him trot on in.
You got Derrick Henry too.
You got him too.
Big
You
Alabama
have
running back.
so many options that it's kind of hard to figure out what you should do.
So big games, another big game, high-scoring game in Chicago. New England pulls out a 38-31 lead or victory, and to me that was exactly what it should have been. Chicago keeps losing these games,
right?
That make it really questionable. You got Detroit, they won a big game. Packers are on the bye week. Minnesota wins again. The North is gonna get really interesting. Detroit plays in a couple weeks. Plays Chicago on Thanksgiving, which is gonna be a great game.
That's gonna be interesting.
And then they play them again 2 weeks after that.
Wow.
Which is to play the same team in 3-week period is gonna be tough.
It's gonna be interesting to see because those matchups, especially me being a defensive end, a former defensive end, those matchups of catching the tendency from offensive lineman and trying to figure out what he's gonna do, how he's gonna set me up, with me still having the game plan against them, try to get to the quarterback, stopping the run, stopping the pass. It's going to be interesting to see how they come back and maneuver, especially whoever win this game. And, where are they playing first? Let's see.
In Detroit. First game's in Detroit.
First game is in Detroit. Okay. Matt Stafford is a bit of a baller, and that home crowd in Detroit definitely they come to support their team. So good luck to the opposing team, but I don't know. that first one may be Stafford.
Yeah. Well, I actually – for years, being a Detroit fan for years, and people actually started to petition the NFL to get Detroit off of Thanksgiving because they're so bad. They were so bad for so many years, and the games were just trash. But now we've kind of seen Detroit turn it around. They have a really solid record the last few years on Thanksgiving. So I'm looking forward to some good football coming up.
I am as well. It's always good to see a nice, hard play matchup.
Yep.
Always.
Okay, so one of the bigger upsets. We'll go college first, and then we'll take a break and come back and do pro.
Okay.
One of the biggest upsets last week, obviously, number 2 goes down. Purdue beats number 2 Ohio State, which basically killed a 4-team parlay for me. And a 7-team teaser, which was a little more devastating to me. Because it was a decent-sized teaser. But I ended up doing okay because I hit a couple money lines. I had the Texans on the money line.
Okay.
I couldn't believe that the Texans were even a dog in that game against Jacksonville because I don't think Jacksonville has been playing very well. I mean, they got absolutely destroyed by the Cowboys the week before. Just watching some of these lines when they come out, I'm like, wow, what's happening?
I haven't been following the sports book, but college football is always a roller coaster. It is always going. You never know who's going to win. I would have picked Ohio State in that game and slated them to win by a large margin. I don't know, but it's Saturday. Any given Saturday, similar to any given Sunday, you don't know who's going to win on that Saturday, especially when a team has a target on their back, someone like Ohio, who's been contenders in the national championship, who's always been in the playoff run in the last couple of years, that Urban has been at the helm. It's you never know, but with a team Purdue coming in with a chip on their shoulder. Wait, they didn't play they played at Purdue, correct?
At Purdue, yeah.
Right. So you coming in, hey, let's stun them and let's give them a butt whooping of a lifetime to send them home packing.
They whooped them.
They did. I seen some of the highlights, and let me tell you, their running back and their players were hungry for that win.
Well, part of it was one of their players recently was diagnosed with cancer.
All right.
So it was kind of like the play for the Gipper type of deal. And the crazy thing is there's a local handicapper who actually came out and said, don't be surprised if Purdue wins this game. At the time, Ohio State was a 14.5-point favorite. It immediately dropped down to 12 because this is a respected guy.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, why did I listen to this dude? You know? Because if I tease that game the other way, I win this game by like 30.
Yeah.
You
You never know with those games. Once again, man, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
But I mean, that's why we do what we do. You know. So anyway, so we got some interesting games coming up. So I got a question for you because this was a topic that I heard today. Bubba Bolden, local guy, played at Bishop Gorman, went to USC, freshman at USC. I noticed that he hadn't been playing, and I kind of keep an eye on the local guys, and I finally found out today the reason why. So according to sources, and we'll just say sources because anonymous sources can now run everything, so we're just going to say anonymous source. Okay.
All right.
Said that Bubba got in an argument at a party, and the team decided to suspend him. So the first initial report was that he was suspended. I'm thinking maybe a game, but I'm kind of paying attention. I'm not seeing his name on the stats, so I'm kind of like, what's going on? Found out today the USC decided to suspend him until the student, the other student, graduates, and he's a sophomore. So I'm thinking to myself, at what point, Bubba, do you just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and redshirt and transfer? You know, because why would you stay in a school where you're going to be suspended for 2 years?
I say go on. I say leave. I mean, the only downfall is that sure you have to start over. You may have to learn a new system. Cool. And you may NCAA. I think they're going to make him sit a year, lose a year eligibility.
Well, he's losing it right now, though. That's why I say if you're redshirt, you're still going to be able to play for 4 years.
So, yeah, I say he go ahead and transfer. I mean, USC may be a good fit for him. He may like it there. But ultimately, if you went there to play football and get an education, it's time for you to probably go somewhere else. 2 years just before you get into a fight. It wasn't a fight, though.
I'm not sure of the exact thing. And that was the other side of it because they didn't really say what it was. And even the report that came from Bubba's attorney, it wasn't actually Bubba that said it,
right,
didn't really explain it either. So I'm thinking it's probably a little bit more serious than. What do you think?
I'm not feeling USC's decision about this. Suspending a guy for until the other person or other party graduates, that's a little absurd. Yep. That's too much. I mean, a punishment. Make them run stadiums all night long, for Christ's sake. Don't go and punish the guy who came to play football and dedicate the next 4 years of his life to your organization. And come on, no. He's not even. Yeah, he's next door to the state, but he's out of state. Come on, cut the guy some slack.
I'll tell you what. I mean, he'd be better off going and playing JC for a year. I mean,
seriously,
and then coming back because I mean, if you really think about it, to lose 2 years of eligibility and you're not playing this year either.
Right.
You know, so if this kid's only a sophomore and then you got 2 more years, you're virtually sitting out 3 years football, and you really need to be playing. I mean, you can attest that somebody sitting out for 3 years, they're not going to come back the same player.
Not at all. You get rusty. You lose a lot of your skills. You use a lot of that fast twitch motion that you need, the explosiveness that a lot of athletes have. You lose a lot of that, especially if you're not in the gym and just living life day to day. You definitely lose that. So for him, I would definitely say, of course, stay in shape. Try to hit the gym as much as possible. Still get as much education as you can, because that's the first and most important thing about going to college.
Absolutely.
Get the education. You're a student athlete. Don't let them tell you that you're an athlete first. No, you're a student first. But I digress. Transfer, go to JC, or even go to another school that can use your talent.
Absolutely. So did you catch any of the Michigan State game? I
did catch a little bit of it.
What'd you think of Michigan's defense?
Michigan defense did a pretty good job. It was okay. You know, the thing that startles me is that Michigan is starting to be kind of a you don't know what you're going to get. You know what I mean? They are at a point where they can be great, but from the beginning of the year, that first game, who did they play first? First half, Notre Dame, they did not play as well.
Yeah.
The second half, they did pretty good. They held their own, but you got to do better. That's point blank, period.
Well, they gave up 17 points in the first half of that game, 7 in the second half. and have completely been dominant since then. The number one defense in the country. Only gave up 105 yards to Michigan State last week. The week before that, the quarterback for Holbrook for Wisconsin completed his first 2 passes, then threw 15 straight incompletions before he completed his next pass.
Okay.
Finished the game under 60 yards or I think it was about less than 70 yards of passing. They play Penn State next. From Penn State, they got a couple of games that they should win. Getting ready to face a Ohio State team that could very easily go into that game with one loss. So both teams should go into that game with 1 loss on November 24th. Are we going to Ann Arbor or what, man? Let's do a little trip.
Man, that'll be cool to just go to Ann Arbor. I know that's your own stubborn ground or in that area, but let me say that Michigan State and Penn State, I'm a little afraid for Michigan State.
No, Michigan, man.
Michigan. I'm sorry, Michigan as well. I'm a little afraid for Michigan. My apologies. I think Michigan may lose to Penn State, and I know
really.
They're going to Penn State, right?
Yep.
Appalachian State would happen to be my alma mater. Let me tell you.
Oh boy, here we
played them and beat them. Almost beat them. I'm sorry, they lost.
That's Bill's favorite team. Anytime we talk about it, he's always going to the Appalachian State.
But the fact that a school comes in and plays close to Penn State like that, Penn State goes on to dominate the few games that they have played. Some games have been low scoring. Ohio State just lost. I'm sorry, Michigan has been, they've been all right. They haven't been the best. They've been all right. Yeah, they have the number 1 defense, as you just said. But I think they're going to lose in that game.
Okay. I'm not going to take that personal.
You're not going to take that personal? All right.
All right, so let's move on to the next topic. We got one more topic, then we're going to take a break.
Okay.
So last week I went to UNLV game.
Okay.
The beginning of the game looked really promising. UNLV was basically in a must-win situation. They need to basically win out to be bowl eligible. They come out in the second half, give up 3 touchdowns, 3 straight drives. Go down by 20, and I'm like, this is horrible. This defense is atrocious, and I don't even know what a better word to say than atrocious. I mean, it really is that bad.
That fit.
So they actually come back in the game, score a touchdown. I left. I had my radio on the sports radio. They get the ball back. They score another touchdown. So they went from down 20 to down 6. They get the ball 2 different times after that. Both times turn it over on downs and end up losing the game. I can't understand this game, but they're actually going up to San Jose State, which is arguably one of the worst teams in D1, right?
Yeah.
The underdog. They're the underdog in that game. They're actually getting 2.5 points. I mean, how do you feel about
Wow. Hold on. So San Jose State is favored
against UNLV?
Wow. I'm sorry to all the Las Vegas fans and the Bishop Gorman fans out here, but I believe that that coach should go back to Bishop Gorman.
You think so?
I think so. He's been struggling for a few years in college football.
Well, I mean, but you think about it, he hasn't really had a chance to get his recruits in, and just like every other.
Sure, he has. This is his 3rd year now.
Yeah.
Sure, he has. 3 years. You have time to at least, even if you go 7-5, that's a good turnaround. What has he been? Has he been 7-5? Has he been 8-4?
They have not been bowl eligible. Been on the cusp bowl.
That's
eligible.
It's 6 games. You need 6 games to win a bowl. Am I mistaken?
Yeah.
If you haven't been
eligible,
bowl eligible in 6 years, in 3 years. Sorry. Yeah, something's wrong with that picture.
Well, this is my thought. I'm going to give him 1 more year.
Okay.
And here's the reason why.
That's fair.
The reason why is because of his relationships, they were able to solidify a great training facility.
Okay.
That's going to be opening next year. In 2 years, they'll be playing in a $2 billion stadium. I think that one of the biggest struggles of getting the high-end talent at UNLV is literally because the Silver Bowl is not even as nice as some of the high schools. You know what I mean? So,
right.
like, if you take somebody to say UCLA's campus, for example, and then you take them to UNLV, they're going to sign with UCLA without even a question.
Without a doubt.
On the flip side of that, you walk them into a $2 billion stadium and say this is where you're going to be playing on Saturday, they're going to have no trouble getting these guys talent. So I don't know that that's going to make a difference. I mean, is it going to make that much of a difference when you get the talent? Maybe. The thing is, the Mountain West is not the Big Ten. It's not the Big 12. It's not the Pac-12. the talent level isn't there. You can't beat Wyoming. You can't. I mean, they're going to go to Fresno and lose the game by 30 points. If they lose this game to San Jose State, you have to think that this guy's on the hot seat. I mean, they got Fresno coming up. They got San Diego State coming up, and then they got a Reno team that's going to be hungry to beat them.
They're in that coach is in for a rude awakening. If you haven't already been awoke, I hate to compare him, but right now to me it seems like he's similar to the Browns. And here's what I mean by that. No matter the Browns have had top round draft pick after top round draft pick, yet they have struggled to clinch a playoff berth. They have not been dominant. They have struggled.
Yep.
Same thing. He runs parallel. So the question becomes now, is it the recruits or is it the coach?
Yeah.
And you can take a group of guys. Let's take a prime example with Seattle. They took a bunch of no-name guys who were hungry, who got looked over, who got drafted in the 6th or 7th round, a bunch of undrafted free agents who were signed, who were tenacious, who were hungry and play with a chip on their shoulder. And what did? They went out and won a Super Bowl.
That's right.
So you telling me that a bunch of high school kids who may not be the best or go to Georgia or Florida or any one of those, or Georgia Tech or Clemson or ACC school or another big name SEC school, you telling me that you can't get a bunch of guys to come in and do what you want them to do and play at more than 100 miles an hour and still become bowl eligible, but by winning only 6 games, something is wrong with that. So now it becomes the Beckon, what kind of coaching are you? Because the same coaching that you had at that made you dominant and successful at Bishop Gorman has to be altered a little bit with the speed and talent at this NCAA collegiate level.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about this week's NFL games. And I have a couple solid picks. I had some last week, and if you were listening, you got some free picks. So anyways, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Southern Nevada Sports News on WWDBTV.com. We'll be right back.
The golf store you've been waiting for is now open. Bob Allen Golf is ready to help you take your game to the next level. Bob Allen Golf is located at 6415 South Fort Apache, Las Vegas 89148. Choose your favorite clubs from our selection of Bridgestone, Callaway, Cleveland, XXIO, Srixon, Ping, Wilson, and more. We'll custom fit them in our state-of-the-art full-swing golf simulator. Come hang out with us and practice on our putting green to find out which club is perfect for you. Have your clubs repaired, reshafted, and regripped in our on-site tour shop. And talk about accessories. Guys and gals will feel comfortable and look sharp in the many sizes, colors, and options of apparel from Greg Norman, Black Clover, Under Armour, and more. The team at Bob Allen Golf takes your game as seriously as you do. Join our online family at boballen.golf.com and stop in the store to meet us. Remember, at Bob Allen Golf, your game is in the bag.
We are back for round 2, Southern Nevada Sports News, coming to you from WWDB TV. My name's Jeff Belknap. I'm
Jabari Fletcher.
Jabari, great to see you. Good job on the first segment.
Thank you.
So you were talking a little bit about the Cleveland Browns in the last segment.
Yes.
And I just want to touch on them. I'm become a Cleveland Browns fan.
So
this team has played 5 overtime games already, or 4 or 5 overtime games. Very easily could be undefeated just with just a couple of things going their way. It always just kind of seems like those things aren't going their way. Do you think that has to do with coaching too? I'm surprised Hugh's still there, to be honest with you. But
yes and no. So as you know, the NFL is a lot harder than NCAA football.
That's right.
That coach, I've been there 3 years.
No, he's been there longer than that.
Has he? I
think he's going.
That is a question mark, but I'll leave that where it be. That new quarterback that they have from Oklahoma.
Oh yeah,
Baker Mayfield has that edge, that chip on his shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Even though he got drafted high in the first round,
he
has that chip on his shoulder that, hey, I'm here to play and win and show you that I play football, that I'm a professional and that I'm an executioner, and I will pick you apart any defense. I'm sad that they did lose the way they lose this past Saturday because they lost. I mean, it's last Sunday because they did lose in a overtime game and
missed the field goal.
Right,
and then the other team comes down, kicks field goal, and beats them.
I just hope that they definitely make it into the playoff. I have become a fan. They're starting to mess. See, when I was there, they had they had Joe Hayden, they had a bunch of good guys, but once again, it was either the coaching or the players. I didn't see a lot of the players bring the players together, a lot of leadership. I didn't see a lot of that when I was there for preseason, but they're starting to turn it around, and I'm hoping that they pull through and make it to the playoffs. Who knows? They may go to the Super Bowl one of these years.
I like it. I mean, they still. I mean, they got a slew of draft picks last year. They got these guys all over the field playing, but they have more next year. They have more picks coming next year just because of the trades and everything they made. Speaking of trades, Amari Cooper gone this week.
Oh man, I'm
for a first round pick.
Mr. Gruden, Coach Gruden, John Gruden, quarterback Kemp. What are you doing, man? I don't know. I'm not trying to question you, but I am questioning you for the people. I don't know what you're doing. You traded Khalil Mack of all people, and then turn around in the interview and said we need better pass rusher. Mm-hmm. Didn't you just trade a pass rusher, a top-tier pass rusher at that, a week or two ago when you made that statement?
Well, hold on.
Let me finish with Amari Cooper.
All right, go ahead.
I don't think he should have been traded. Sure. Now, I understand the chess move. Trade him out, get a fresh new set of guys that fit into his system. I completely understand that. When you have a guy like Amari Cooper who knows how to get vertical, who can run and get hit by a linebacker, get up, shake it off, and go for another pass, you don't get rid of a guy like that.
I look at it as he wants to build the people that are sold in for him. And the thing that John Gruden does know that we don't know is the issues that are going on in the locker room. Like, this is my opinion about Khalil Mack. He was literally one of my favorite players. Him and Derek Carr were the only two players on the Raiders that I liked. And then when they got the running back,
I know you're talking about
Beast Mode. When they got Beast Mode, I was happy because I like Beast Mode. I like who he is and his man and like everything he is. All about him. I love all that. Mm-hmm. But we don't know what's happening in the locker room. If I'm the coach and GM and I have all this power and there's a player telling me that he's not going to play, I'm shopping him. I'm not trying to even bring him back. I'm going to go and see what I can get for him. And no matter what was said and done and whatever it was, Gruden got some good action for Khalil Mack. And now we got a first-round pick for Cooper. And the way that I look at it is Jarvis Landry got a second-round pick. So I'm thinking to myself, Jarvis Landry, Amari Cooper. Jarvis Landry is a better wide receiver to me. So if anyone was going to get a first-round pick, it should have been Jarvis Landry. But this is how it is. Gruden is putting together this squad, and he's going to do it his way. And this is ultimately setting up the Vegas team. This had nothing to do with Oakland. And if I was going to be anybody that would be upset, I would be an Oakland native. That's the Oakland people that should be upset because they got no shot of winning this year. They probably don't got a shot at winning next year. So, to me, they're setting up this team for 2020 playing in a new stadium.
I would agree with that, and I would say that that's exactly what he's doing, going and set up the players that he needs to buy into his system that's going to help produce the best outcome. I still don't agree with the Oakland Raiders coming here, but I digress. Don't want to go into that.
I would actually like the Chargers better.
Yeah,
that's just me personally.
Oakland Raiders is a staple, but with Gruden, sure, trade Amari Cooper, a guy who doesn't want to play for you. I get that. I get the fact that there's turmoil going on in the locker room, and you can't have that if you're being championship contenders. But the thing is, how do you make such a 180 or 360, however you want to spin it or say it? How do you make that kind of transition from being one step away from being in the Super Bowl to now not even probably going to make the playoffs this year?
I mean, if I was looking at it, I'm thinking they're going for a nice high draft pick.
Right, but I mean,
you got one win. I mean, there's no reason to start winning now. It's like remember when Luck was available and Peyton Manning got hurt and all that stuff, and they were losing on purpose. That's what it's as sad as it is. I kind of think is what's happening. And who's the real victim in all this is Derek Carr. Because he's getting murdered on the field. I mean, he's got no time to get rid of the ball. They were showing the way that these defensive guys are getting through that line. It's like 0.8 seconds or something, and he's already being contested at 0.8 seconds. I mean, on the average, an NFL guy gets rid of the ball in 0.1 or it's like 1.2, and you got 0.8, and you got somebody in your face. I mean, that's not giving you a shot at all.
And in football, quarterback and drills, they get about 2 seconds or 3 seconds, have a little, like a tripod, take the ball off. The clock is ticking for them to get rid of the ball. The fact that D-line, whoever is getting through and getting pressure on Carr, you got to look at the offensive line on that.
Oh, yeah.
The offensive line coach, what is going on? Because Carr is not a trash quarterback.
No.
That guy is a pretty good quarterback.
I watch
elite,
him every
elite,
year in Fresno.
Exactly. Elite caliber status. You know what I mean? But that offensive line has to do a much better job of protection for him, because you can't have your quarterback sustain those kind of injuries and expect him to play have longevity in this league at the helm of your ship. That's not going to work.
We only got like 10 minutes, but I want to ask you one more question about Carr.
Okay.
There was some little bit of turmoil when he got hit, and it looked like that he might have been crying. Did you see the look?
I did not see it, but man, you better not be crying, Carr. You not be crying.
I'll tell you this, man. The way he got hit, I would have probably been crying, but you're an NFL guy, man. You got to get up and shake it off.
You got to get up. So I had a coach. I'm gonna talk. I want to talk about one thing. I'm gonna say this statement, and then I'm gonna go into another statement talking about Carr and the hit. When I was playing, you were not allowed to lay on the ground. There was no, oh, you made a tackle, my arm is under, let this guy get up. You better snatch your arm off there and get off the ground. You know what I mean? You are a professional athlete. Football is similar to, please don't take this literal, football is similar to the military. In the sense that you're going to war with this group of guys that's wearing the same jersey, same uniform, who you've practiced day in and day out with, sharing a locker room with, and you have to rely on to make sure they keep their responsibility for the success of this team. Now, speaking of that, I want to go into the hits, because a lot of the hits in the NFL that are being flagged right now is a bunch of bullshit. Bullshit. That is horse manure to its finest. Come on, Clay Matthews, perfect form tackle, run through the quarterback. Don't leave your feet, just run through him, shoulder on his shoulder, wrap up, perfect clean. I mean, that was textbook perfect.
Not just once. It happened like 2 or 3 times.
That is. I mean, but now a bunch of other defensive end. Now you're telling me all the defensive players should be starting to play timid.
Yeah.
So now what? You should just go up and touch them. I think they should.
Up.
They should just.
Well, I think a prime example of that, and we really do need to get to the plays, but a prime example of that was the other day when New Orleans, Tom Brady was running, and he went to pump to throw, and the defensive guy grabbed him, and then just let him go, and then Brady just ran in for the touchdown. And in my head, I think he thought that he threw it.
Right.
He didn't want to catch a penalty, so he let him go, and then boom, he scampers in, scores his touchdown.
That's from fear of receiving that FedEx letter from the NFL on Monday morning. That nice fat fine of about 4 to 5 figures that's going to be sitting at the player's locker from that late hit call that the penalty the ref called.
Okay, so let's run through these games.
All right, come on.
I'm just going to go through the games, and then you tell me who you think. I'm going to give you mine.
Okay.
Thursday night, we got Miami at Houston. Houston minus 7.5, by the way.
Houston.
I'm going to Houston to win the game. I like Miami in the points. Philadelphia at Jacksonville.
Jacksonville hasn't been playing.
I believe this game is in London, by the way.
Jacksonville hasn't been playing up to par recently, so I'm going to go with the Eagles.
I'm going to go Eagles, easy, win that game by 3 points. Cleveland at Pittsburgh, a week 1 replay. They tied that game in week 1. Pittsburgh's minus 8.
I'm going to say the Steelers, just because that's a hard environment to play in.
Yep.
That's a hard environment to play in.
Well, I'm going to take the Steelers. I'm going to say that they win this game big, and for 2 reasons. 1, because of the way that the game ended last time,
right.
And 2, the Steelers are playing really well. Denver at Kansas City, KC minus 10.
KC, of course.
I think KC wins. I don't know about the 10 points. Denver actually played the Rams really tough. You know, it played that game within 3 points. They were a 10-point dog in that game as well. I'm going to take KC to win. KC, Mahomes is the most exciting guy to watch. I love watching this guy play. Tyreek Hill on my fantasy. Hunt's been tearing it up. Sammy Watkins played good last week. They just have weapons all over the field.
Let's just make sure and hope that everybody stays healthy for the rest of this season.
Absolutely. The New York Jets against Chicago at Chicago.
I'm going with the Bears on this.
I'm going to take the Bears as well. And I'm going to call it right now. The Jets are a complete bust. They will be literally, by the end of this season, marked as one of the worst teams in the league. The Redskins at the Giants.
Giants have been playing so apart. Eli hasn't been getting the job done. There has been miscommunication. I mean, OBJ has been doing good, but I'm going to go with the Redskins on this.
You're going to go Redskins. I'm taking Redskins, not for any of those other reasons. The Redskins are a way better team. They're literally one of the best defensive teams in the NFL.
Right.
Manning's going to have a rough time, just like he did the other day against Atlanta. Go ahead and I'm going to give this one out as my pick of the week. Take the Redskins against the Giants. That's a no-brainer. Seattle at Detroit.
Seattle at Detroit. I'm gonna go with Seattle. I'm not a fan of Seattle, but I kind of lean towards them just based off of the statement I said earlier. I'm gonna go with Seattle on this.
Okay, you're taking Seattle. You also took Michigan or Ohio State against Michigan, so I'm gonna remember that. Next time we're out, I'm walking out on the tab. Watch this. Okay, so Detroit's minus 3 points. I'm gonna take Detroit, not because I'm a Detroit guy. I think Detroit's coming to their own. Carry on. Had a nice run last week against Miami, 71 or 72-yard run. Another game over 100 yards. That's 2 this season already. He's a rookie. He's kind of starting to feel like what he needs to do. Stafford's a beast. The receivers are above average, I think, as a core. The Seattle's line is not impressive to me. Their defensive line, it doesn't get pressure on quarterback. Stafford's going to have a lot more time to play. This game might be something you want to lean towards the over. It is 49.5, but I like it anyway. Okay, so the Tampa Bay at Cincinnati.
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay on this.
Oof.
Jameis Winston has came back, and he's there to show that, I belong to play in this NFL game.
Yep.
That whole package, Deshaun Jackson with number 13 on the other side, they definitely have something to prove and something. Mike Evans.
Yep.
I'm gonna say Buccaneers on this.
Okay, this one I'm not really sure about, but I definitely wouldn't lay the 4.5 points with Cincy. I don't think Cincy's that good. I think that they got exposed against Kansas City on Sunday night, and Tampa Bay to me isn't really that good. So this is a game that I probably wouldn't bet, but if I did, it would be Tampa Bay. Next game, we got Baltimore at Carolina.
Carolina all the way. Come on, Cam. Cam is he's doing the Superman. Pull it on him, baby. Right. And let them native all the way stand up.
I actually picked Baltimore to be the 3rd best team in that division. I still don't think they won a couple of games early. I still don't think that they're that great of the team. Their defense has kept them in games. I'm gonna take Carolina as well. This is another game I wouldn't bet. These games that are really closely matched games, I really don't like to touch. I like the games like this next one we're going to talk about, Indianapolis at Oakland.
Ooh. Luck is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go with the Raiders, though.
You're going to take the Raiders?
I'm going to go with the Raiders.
I'm going to take Andrew Luck in the Colts, not because the Colts are good. It's because I honestly believe that the Raiders are going to be dumping this season. This is also a game I wouldn't bet, but if I did bet it, I would actually bet Oakland because I think the 3 points is a little much. Next game, we have Sam, a.k.a. touchdown to the other team, Rosen. Okay, so let me tell you guys something. In the beginning of the season, I drafted Denver as my defense. I was kind of looking when they had their bye week, I'm going to go take someone else. And that was actually how I figured out that Washington was one of the better defensive teams is because I ended up picking them up.
Right.
2 pick sixes last week for Denver. 33 fantasy points. I won my fantasy anyway. But
okay.
Rosen he's probably the least good, I guess, the best way to put it, of the freshman quarterbacks this year. Against San Francisco, Arizona -1, what do you think?
I'm going Arizona. 49ers, they still have some things going on, especially with the quarterback going down. I'm gonna go with wait, but Cardinals have been having some hiccups themselves as well. So I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna flip that. I'm gonna go with the 49ers.
I'm taking the 49ers as well. Beat Hard, his name cracks me up every time I say it. Beat Hard, that's the quarterback for San Fran. This dude's actually not bad. I mean, he had Green Bay beat if the coaches for San Fran would have tried to win. But instead, they were playing all these like, oh, let's just try to keep our lead. And you don't do that against Aaron Rodgers.
Nah, you don't.
You keep your foot on the gas.
You can't.
Until that final whistle. And that's what Detroit did against Green Bay, and that's why they beat them. I'm going to take San Fran to beat Arizona, though. Packers coming off their bye week at the Rams.
Oh, man, that's a tough matchup right there. I think that's going to be one of the games of the week. You have Aaron Rodgers, who's a dominant pass rusher. You have Todd Gurley, and the quarterback in the organization over at the Rams. I'm going with the Rams. They're undefeated. They on the hiatus. You got to realize something now. Aaron Rodgers is a hurt dog right now. That leg has been bothering him, and with the defensive line front from the Rams, when you like a shark, when you smell blood, you go and get it.
This is gonna be a tough one. You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams win this game by 20, but I never count out Aaron Rodgers. I think the 9.5 points is too much. The Rams aren't exactly the best covering team, so if I had to bet it against the spread, I'd definitely take the Packers. But obviously, I think the Rams are going to win. New Orleans at Minnesota. Pick'em game.
I'm going with the Saints. Drew Brees, he just broke a record. He's had a few close calls, but I'm going with the Saints, man. He's on a roll right now. I
think that their offense is stellar. Their defense is absolute trash. And that's the only way that I can really put it. This is a Sunday night game. Everyone's going to be watching this game. Minnesota is just kind of coming. Cousins is actually coming around. Murray's had a couple of back-to-back games where he's played really well. I think that's going to be a huge factor to give Cousins a little bit more time. You got a wide receiver from Minnesota that's flying under the radar. 100 yards in every game of the year. No one's talking about this guy. It's kind of sad. I remember the comment that Randy Moss made about him being slow, and then they showed his 40 times at 4.3.
It's just because he's most tall guys don't look fast. Yeah. And that's because they have these long, overdrawn strides that doesn't make them look as fast twitcher, like a little short guy who's about maybe 5'10", who's looking like his feet look like the roll runner. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, man. You're talking Tyreek Hill, man.
Yeah,
that boy
exactly.
He looks like he's
out
going fast.
Exactly. He gets out of there. But with the tall guy with a 6'3", 6'4" frame, those long strides, you're eating up a lot of ground. That was what people have to realize.
Okay, last game of the weekend, New England at Buffalo. Kind of a no-brainer. Who would take Buffalo?
A blind person who don't.
Hey, you know what? I actually bet Buffalo when they played Minnesota.
Did they win?
Money line.
Okay.
They won that game.
Really?
Yeah. They were getting 12 points. I actually took the 12.5 points. But this is a game that I give out, and I gave it out when we were talking about the preseason. When New England plays Buffalo, the game goes over. It's a low total this time, 44. That game goes over guaranteed.
Yeah. Patriots on the road. TB. Greatest quarterback of all time. I hate to say it, but he's a GOAT. I mean, what are you gonna stop him from winning? Especially, you gotta realize people are like, oh, he's won this as a football player, as a former football player, as Tom Brady, or somebody who kind of can speak from his side, not speak for him, but at his age, you want people you want to show people, hey, don't let this age fool you. Just like an old man, I kick your ass. It's the same thing with Tom Brady. He's going to want to show that he can be dominant day in and day out, week in and week out against any NFL team, and show defensive coaches that, hey, I'm going to be dominant. I'm going to still eat up anything you throw at me.
Dude, he's married to a supermodel. Come on.
Hey, what could you say?
All right, Jabari, thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming in. And we will be back next week on Halloween, by the way. I'm not sure if we're going to dress in the Halloween gear like we did a couple years ago, but thanks again, John, for everything on the board, owner of the studio, John.
Thank
Stiles.
you, John. Thank you.
Check us back next week. Son Nevada Sports News on WWDBTV.com. We'll be back.
Peace.